Right, so I've just got in from work. Couldn't wait to get in here, to be honest. Just quickly unpacked everything onto the table. This is it's not really a table at all. It's a piece of hardboard over an old smaller table, which is going to be my build area because, quite frankly, I just haven't got the room for all the pieces. But just before I got started, I just wanted to show you and try and explain to you the incredible amount of detail that has gone into putting this kit together and the quality of the parts. It is such a massive step up. I know I started with the A8 and we know that's a cheap machine and we know it's all acrylic and la-di-da, but even the CR10, a good solid steel framed machine, well, extruded frame machine, lots of metal parts on it, you know, felt a fairly substantial piece of kit until you come across this kit from Prusa. And just, I mean, it's difficult to explain. I mean, that is a, you know, a good, solid, thick gauged piece of metal. I don't want to, you know, damage these in any way because that would be silly. But, you know, that is not going to give you any flex. That's not going to give you any issues at all. It is such a well put together and such real top quality stuff. The quality of the parts, the engineering is phenomenal. So yeah, you get all the tools that you need to put it together. You've got your Allen keys, you've got a little flat-headed screwdriver, you've got a Phillips head screwdriver, and you've got a pair of needle nose pliers there. Funnily enough, the one thing I don't see is a pair of side cutters. Now, every other printer I have ever had has got a pair of side cutters in it. And this is the first one where there haven't been any. Strange. But just like I say, I just wanted to reiterate the quality and the care and the detail that's gone into these kits. For instance, when you're doing your build parts, everything is labelled, absolutely everything. So you've got step 2, which is your y-axis. That tells you exactly what's in that bag. And that's the y-axis, and that's the printed parts. And that tells you exactly what's in that bag. So whether you use the website and use the guide on there, or whether you do it from the book we have here, I'll probably do it from the actual internet because I think it's going to be a bit clearer to see, in fairness. I'll get my laptop set up, but everything's there, you know, it's all in there. It's just I mean, that is actually, yeah, that's not actually the build book. Stupid of me not to realise that is actually the handbook for printing once you've got it set up. So you have to use the online version on their website to actually build it. This is just a user's manual, which actually is what it says. So if I took a little bit more time reading stuff and a little bit less time getting excited, yeah, we'd probably go a lot further. But yeah, I just wanted to show you how wonderful everything is. You know, you pick up step 6, you know, you've got the printed parts for step 6, which is the LCD stuff, and then you've got the electronics. So everything is there. You know, a chance of getting something in the wrong order, I can only see is going to be very low. But the quality of this stuff, I mean, this is the frame. That is a good thick gauge frame. You know, there's going to be no twist in that. There's going to be no give anywhere in that. That is, you know, that's quality. I mean, the other thing I wanted to show everyone, which I spoke about in the quick unboxing, was this steel sheet and all these people that, you know, I mean, we all did it a little. We all felt a little bit cheated, I suppose, when we found out we weren't originally going to get the powder coated sheet. But then when you understand the reasons behind it and, you know, what the problem was, I don't honestly see that having that for now is going to be an issue. I mean, that's a good solid sprung steel sheet, plenty of flex in it. I'll do it that way, look. Plenty of flex in it for popping your parts off. I can't see that being a problem. I actually like the idea of that. Now, I know that the powder coated ones will be available hopefully in January. Of course I'm going to order one. I might even order another one of these, just for speed. You know, if you've got a big print on there, you just slide that off, slide your next build plate on, set it going again, and then you've got a bit more time to deal with whatever's on that build plate. But yeah, I mean, the quality I'm absolutely blown away by. Everything is just really, really good. And I know people will say, oh well, you know, it's a lot of money, you would expect it to be good quality, but you know, it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Can't wait to get putting it together. So without further ado, I'll get the laptop set up and we'll start part 1. Right, so the first thing we have to do is this bad boy here. Put that down. Now we need the extruded pieces. Too long, too short. Now this is step 2. Because step 1 is just reading through and familiarising yourself, so we don't need to do that bit because we don't actually need to film me looking at a piece of paper. So if we just scroll down on my thing, okay, so it says take the longer aluminium extrusions and place them next to the frame. Make sure the Prusa logo on the frame top is visible. So That's the Prusa part on the frame top. So that's there, so I've got to make sure that's visible. And then we've got to line that up there. And that up there, I believe. The only problem is my laptop's too far away to be able to read it when I'm sat down. That could become an issue, but we'll work on it. Note the screws are inserted from the opposite sides of the frame. If you need to manipulate with the frame, make sure the extrusions are on the correct side. Ensure you are using the correct holes. See the second picture, so I'll scroll down to the second picture. And the second picture shows me that these longer ones go on the inside set of holes, and when we put the shorter ones on the other side, they go from the furthest out set of holes. So it says ensure you are using the correct holes. Yeah. Now tighten the screws fully on a diagonal. So yeah, top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So into this bag, and we are using, somebody shout at me what size nut we are using. It's the M5 screws. So on the bag, M5, it actually shows you a picture of them, and they're actually to scale as well. So if I get one out of the bag, you can actually hold it up against a piece of plastic, the piece of paper on the front of the bag, and it actually shows that you're getting the right ones. So we have a look, and that's saying y-axis, and that says 32 times those. So out of all this we've got here, some bearings there, look. So these must be they. So M5s. So what you actually do, look, you get that and hold that up against there. You can see you're using the right one, which is a fantastic idea. So we will just loosely bob these in. Like that. Now I saw a certain Joe, 3D Make a Noob, he used a little bit of a cheat at doing this point. He had an electric screwdriver to do these. I have one, but it's outside in the van, so we won't be using that. We'll be doing it the old-fashioned way, I think, in this case. So we'll just get those in there like that, nice and loosely, and then using the Allen keys provided in the kit, because as much as possible I'm going to use what they've given me. That way you can see that everything is here that you need to get this thing up and running. So it's going to be, out of these Allen keys, I would imagine it's going to be that one. Let's just try it on one of these loose ones. Yep, that's the right one. So just turn this round. I'm sure you can't see what I'm doing, but believe me, I'm doing it. We'll just spin that up like that, and then we'll just tighten those. We're not going to tighten them all the way down yet. It said diagonal to tighten, but we'll just get them all into place first. Nice and easy like that. And then, oops, we'll drop that one on the floor. Use of the chin. Now, I don't know whether you caught that on camera or not, but I did actually use my chin there to steady the frame while getting that screw in. Like you've learnt with me, it's certainly a warts and all approach the good, the bad and the ugly when it comes to putting things together. There's no clever jump cuts to hide anything. I just do what I do, and hopefully it's right. So we'll get those into there. Like I say, I've not tightened them right down yet. I'm going to stand it flat on its feet before I do that, just to make sure that we keep our extrusions flat, straight and perpendicular to each other, because having them rested like that, I could put undue stress on that and bend it in slightly. I mean, to be fair, but they're fairly well done anyway. So we'll just do alternates on these, so we're not going to, you know, put too much pressure on and break anything. I'm a fairly ham-fisted bloke, so sometimes I can get a bit carried away with tightening stuff. Then on the other hand, of course, we don't want things rattling loose. But yeah, we'll just go steady for now. It's not necessarily a test your strength machine, is it? So, oh, get in. So that's the two longer extruded pieces in like that, and I've got Prusa written there. So then what we do is we turn it round, we get the two shorter lengths, and they're going to go there and there with the same job, 4 more screws in each one. So I'll get on with that. Just check what I'm doing. Okay for battery. Yeah, I'm of course going to have to break off shortly and go out for this our evening meal. But when I get back from that, if I haven't had too many pints, I'll certainly attempt to carry on. It's our every Wednesday night we go to our local pub. It's I suppose you might call it a micro pub. It's only seats 24 because we live in a very small village. It only seats 24 people, and on a Wednesday and a Thursday night they do a chilli and a curry night. And you get either a bowl of chilli or a curry and a pint for £7.50, I think it is, which is great, especially seeing as they also do pizzas. So me, my partner and my daughter go, and of course they don't drink. Well, they do, well, partner drinks, but she has to drive. So because we've got 3 meals, it means I get 3 pints, so that's fantastic. There's me knocking the table over. That's not very good, is it? So yeah, I shall be having my bowl of chilli this evening. Some of the greatest mistakes in the world were made after a drink, so you know, it could be interesting if nothing else. So get those tightened like so, and then we'll do the same on the other side. You can talk amongst yourselves while you do this. Go off and make a cup of tea. Fast forward the video if you want. It's fairly obvious what I'm doing, but yeah, this is what it's about. This is what building 3D printers is about. It's not all, you know, peeling coverings off plastic parts. Let's hope I never have to go back to that again. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. So we'll just get these screws in, and then I'll leap up and have a look and see which the next part is, because like I say, I couldn't get my laptop anywhere near where I was working, which is a bit of an issue. I would suggest to you that make sure your laptop is right at hand, or a tablet. That's a thought. I could have charged my tablet up and done that, couldn't I? Now you see, there's a tip. Make sure you can get fairly close to your screen to actually read what you're doing, or put it on a tablet, you know, an iPad or whatever. Or I suppose if you were feeling that way inclined, you could actually print it all out and have it on printed paper and do it that way. But it's probably better to have it close to hand than it is the way I'm doing it at the moment, which is possibly the worst possible way, which is having to leap out of my chair every 30 seconds and look at the computer screen. But at least it's keeping me fit. And if I keep telling myself that, we're all right, aren't we? So just get this last one in. Some of these are a little bit more difficult than others to get in. This one's not in the best of places. Difficult to get your Allen key into that because of the other extrusion in the way. But you know, this is life. You know, I could get my screwdriver bits out and use that to do it, but that's not using the items I've been supplied with. So I'll stick to using the wonderful stuff that Mr. Prusa's put in this kit for me. So just in case, you know, you don't have any of these tools and this truly is your first 3D printer. I mean, I have seen quite a few people on the Prusa forums, both on their forums and on the Facebook ones, in the groups, saying that this is their first ever 3D printer. Now, it does make me a bit jealous, really, I'll be honest with you. Oh, that wasn't in the right order, was it? You know, to get an i3 Mark III as your first printer, far cheaper, far less wonderful things than that. Right, we'll do a bit of a wobble test now. I've got a fair bit of wobble on there. I've got no wobble on the front too, but I've got a lot of rocking to the back. Now I don't know whether that's an issue at this stage, because when I've got them flat at the back, there's no give there and there, but there is there and there. Now I can't see that I can do anything about that because none of the actual extrusions are flat with the bottom of that, so I can only imagine that that's right. But I'll check back now and we'll have a look and make sure I am doing this right. Yeah, so just double check that that's absolutely right. The reason why it is wobbling is because of these. These, of course, will bring them up. Now, that it does say to you, make sure that the longer extrusions are on the inside set of screws with the Prusa logo facing you, and that the shorter extrusions are the furthest apart and they're going backwards away from the Prusa logo. So we've got that bit right, so that's good. So the next bit is this. Now, looking at these, I didn't check before I came over, but it doesn't appear to matter, famous last words, which way around these go on. So using these same screws again, we'll get these on, and I'm sure it'll be the same system. Tighten them up loosely and then snick them up corner to corner, as you would do if any of you have ever changed a wheel on a car. You're always told to do opposite nuts. That's just to make sure that as you are tightening it down, it's going on flat. If you imagine you're putting a wheel on a car and you start with, whoa, serious jump cut. Sorry about that, guys. Been to the pub, had my tea, had my pints. Back I've come. So, little bit that we missed. I'm sorry I keep knocking the camera. I've got the back one on there. Now, one thing that I did notice somebody missed the other day on their build, and I had to go and put them back in, are these two little sliders. These are apparently for the power supply. And I believe they just slide in there like that, and that's for the power supply mount. Now I should just go and double check that I've put them on the right side, because I'd look a bit of a fool if I'd got them on wrong. But they slide up the extrusion like that, and that's for bolting the power supply too. But I should just dive at the TV screen, at the computer screen even, and just check I've got that right. Utter nightmare. Not quite sure what's happened here, guys, but I seem to have stopped recording. So I'm just going to quickly go through what I've done. We've got the two nuts in here, sliders in here, which are for the power supply. Make sure you put those in. Many people have forgotten. And then all I've done is I've taken these next pieces out, which are for the smooth rods for the bed, and I've put those on and I've screwed those into place. I'm really not sure what happened with the recording, because it was recording and then it just sort of stopped. So you've not missed anything exciting, you've not missed any pearls of wisdom. It's all been fairly straightforward so far. No issues with anything. So now we're on to the Y-belt idler part 1. So for that we need, out of this here bag, which is the Y-axis. So it's still the Y-axis bag. It's the idler block. Now what we have to do with this is we have to put some captive nuts in. Just bear with me. Sort myself out. I shall bring you down so we can get a closer look of what I'm actually doing. Oh, right, so let me just take you off there for a second. Oh, sorry about that. Right, so we've got, this is the idler block, and what we've done is I've already stuck 2 nuts into there like that, okay, and then we get the pulley, and then we have a nut which I've already put in that end as well because I'm cheating a bit. We'll put the pulley in like that, and then we have the bolt to go through. Now the thing is this is another one of Prusa's being intelligent. If you look at the frame, there's 2 holes this end, and then there's 2 holes also that end. Now they're a different distance apart. So the thing is that you're not actually going to be able to put this on the wrong end, which is brilliant. It's a fantastic idea. So actually what I need to do is turn that round, because that's not going to go on the other end because the holes are a different distance apart. So that was a great bit forethought by them. You know, they've thought about this. It's not just slipshod, let's say. They've made those holes a different distance so you can't get the stuff in the wrong place. So I'll quickly bob you back up on here. I am having issues with the recording stopping, so it's going to be a bit jumpy for a minute. I don't know why it's doing it, but we'll battle on. So like I say, I've got the captive nuts in. The captive nuts, if we can get it to focus camera, focus. Right, so I've got the captive nuts in there and there. I've got a captive nut in there. I've got the pulley through there, and then that through. So we'll just tighten that up, which is really difficult to do when you're looking through the end of the camera. But we'll tighten that up like that, make sure that still spins, which it does. There's no wrong way up and right way up that I can see when this goes on. But what we'll do is, there is actually some writing there that says A9, so I'll make sure that's facing up when I push it on. And we'll just go down and we'll get 2 more of the bolts, screws, whatever you wish to call them. And we'll have that in there. And then we'll put 1 in the bottom, like that. And we'll tighten those up. Like so, and like so. That still spins, fantastic. So we're on now to the next stage. So now we are on to step 19, which is the Y-axis motor and motor holder. For this we need the Y-axis motor, the Y-axis motor holder, 4 times M3 by 10 screws and 2 times M3N nuts. It also says, ensure you are using the correct motor. There is a label on the bottom of the casing. The reason is each motor has a different cable length. So mine was the middle one in the middle of the box, if that makes any sense to you. And that clearly says, there you are, look, Y-axis. And it's a NEMA 17. Fantastic little stepper motors, these. Classic bits of kit. Very useful. So we need that. And then we need to get out of the plastic bag we still have here. We need to get this mount. And we'll 4 screws, 2 nuts. So 4 screws, 2 nuts. Let's get this cracked together and we'll be on with the next stage. So what it's telling us to do is, you can see there we've got the holes there for the 2 nuts. So again, just check and see, these aren't the thread locked nuts, these are the normal ones. So rather than the ones with the thread lock on, these are just the straightforward nuts. So we'll have that one in, and we'll have that one in like so. Again, if you want to get them perfectly centered, just use your needle nose pliers and just give them a little nip just to make sure they're sat. Focus. Make sure they're sat nicely like that. And then what does it say to do? Right, so orientation of motor. We need the motor like that. So we have the wire coming out of the bottom, and then it shows this fits like that. So that's how that sits onto there. And then we'll just look at the last thing, and then we want our 2 screws into there. So one in and 2 in. Now the thing with this is, these do actually feel a little bit tight, like the tolerances on the holes are absolute minimum. So what I might just do is, if I actually put the motor down, and let's get these bolts, nuts, bolts, screws, whatever you wish to call them, through until we can just see the tip coming through. And we'll do the same on this one. Wind it in until we can just see the tip coming through. Make sure we've got the orientation of the motor the right way, so the cable's out of the bottom. And then we'll sit that onto there like that, and then ever so carefully, making sure we don't cross thread that as it goes in, we'll put that into there, and we will put that into there. So we've got that one in, that one's missed. You see, even experts can make mistakes. Experts, what am I saying? Is that getting a grip? Yep, that's getting a grip. So we'll stick that end in now, and we'll wind that in like that. And we'll put that end in there, and we'll wind that in like that. Again, don't over tighten them. You know, the last thing you want to do is to over tighten those and pull them straight through the plastic, and then you've got to print another bit. Now, again, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that Joseph Prusa does, is the fact that all these parts, STL files are available, so you can, if you should damage anything, you can print another one out. It takes a bit of time. It also means you've got to have another 3D printer, of course, but I would think a majority of us have got one, if we're honest. So the next thing is to get this onto the frame. Just a quick look at my picture, and it would appear it's pointing out on the frame that the captive nut, let's just get you in shot, that those captive nuts, which are actually for the power supply, are here, and then we're going to apply it to the frame. Ooh, let me get this the right way around. We're going to apply it to the frame there. So we'll just bob that back down, make sure we get the orientation right. So we're going on like that, so that is going to sit like that. So we'll get these 2 bits screwed on, and then we'll get this this section of the video so far uploaded for you. And while I'm uploading that, I'll record the next section, and we'll carry on from there. So it's just a simple job of lining those up, winding those 2 screws in like that. Make sure we get them seated just right, like that. Allen key on, wind it in. Of course, don't over tighten. Bob it down, and we're ready for the next stage, which we'll do after in part 2.